episode of Young Man's Game. I believe it's episode 2, actually. So I'm glad to be joined by Ryan Ash today. Ryan, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Joaquin.
Well, this is great, buddy. So what we're doing here is talking about transitions in our lives, going from one occupation to another. Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit what you do now?
Right now, I am kind of like a video editor and just general creative idea person for a financial firm. As well, I am a kind of consultant in the area of like product design and like packaging and stuff like that.
Oh, that's good. I've seen your work firsthand. You've made me look a lot better at certain times, so thank you for that. But what else do you do? Tell me. I know you dabble a little bit in comedy as well.
Yeah, I do some stand-up comedy. I did more acting before, and then I moved back to Edmonton, and since I moved, I haven't done any of that. But yeah, lots of comedy. Other than that, I just generally like to spend my time doing creative stuff, or kind of a crossroads between creativity and technology is where I find myself a lot in my free time, and where I'm trying to basically learn more stuff to kind of augment the things that I do for work and stuff.
Yeah. So how did you get started in that? How did you first find that was kind of a passion for you?
Well, I was doing some film acting, and I just kind of came to realize that geographically where I wasn't going to ever be able to like do film full time unless I moved to Vancouver, Toronto. And I always turned that over in my head, but I was just too scared to ever do anything like that. Like, too scared to do, like, a lot of big leaps of faith like that. So, nothing doing. So, I realized maybe it was, like, to be around film and that stuff as much as I could, I should actually, like, pursue the technical end of things. Yeah. And at the same time, I was doing stand-up comedy as well. So, I was really engaged with stuff creatively, but it wasn't my full-time job. But I was making good money here doing this acting gig, and then make a little money, like, walking around money with stand-up. And so it really didn't matter that much what I did if I had a full-time job during the day, because the kind of sum total of everything, I felt pretty comfortable with whatever was coming in. But I just like had no direction that way. And then I guess eventually I just kind of orbited the idea of being on the technical side and like being paid for video editing and stuff for a long time, but I also had horrible self-confidence issues and everything. So I was always like, oh, that really cool job, it's not really for a person like me. I'm not really good enough to, somebody else has got a better skill set than me, and I'm just a pretender to this. And because I was entirely self-taught in that transition, not entirely, I mean, like I had mentors in the different departments that I worked as I like got into the technical side of like working in an arts department and film and stuff. But I never really did any education, and the only college I've ever had was a 2-year run at doing a theater arts diploma through Grant MacEwan, which I mean ultimately I really value, because I think I picked a lot of stuff up there that like let me embrace being creative. But at the same time, it's like, you just get older and older, and you watch people who have, move on to get their masters and like MBAs and all this stuff, and you're like, I got my 2-year pretend certificate. It's not even a degree, which is probably better. Like, that's probably a win that it wasn't an extra 2 years in pretend land, because like there's got to be a threshold of like breathing exercises where it's not really beneficial to you anymore. And I think it's about the 2-year mark. But yeah, anyhow. And eventually, I just kept on training myself in different areas of like technical things, like 3D design and a little bit in Photoshop, a little bit in Illustrator. And nothing happened for a while in terms of like a straight up full-time role. And I think it was because I was training myself in a lot of different softwares at the same time. But now I actually have a broad base in all those things. And it's led to, like, I love the editing job that I have right now for videos. I find it really rewarding. I get to work with my friends, and it was all an opportunity that these skills were able to give me. And then, and now I'm also at a part where I'm like really confident in my product, where it's no more like I don't have any more pretender syndrome.
Yeah. When you were like younger, like most people, did you look at movies like when I go to a movie and watch, I'm more there just for the movie. Did you actually kind of look at it as, I like how that looks, or there's a certain way of that editing piece? Did that kind of resonate? Because I hear sometimes directors or video editors like yourself talk about that was kind of always in them.
Yeah, I think the first bit of that for me would have actually been on the acting side of things, and like dissecting it like that. And then like you say, it happens with comedy, right? Where you're like, I love comedy, but it's a different experience now sitting and listening to a show.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of joyless in a horrible way. This thing I love so much, I just sit there and, I'm just like disapprove. But then now actually more than before, I look at things with that, try to have like a cinematographer lens to it.
Yeah.
Because shooting video is actually one of my more recent skills to start like really pursuing. Before I'd usually be I do more post-production editing stuff. And now with the role I have, I'm doing the videography. I'm
getting more behind the camera and things like that. That's cool. So I guess that comes with learning the equipment, and it can't be cheap and things like that. So there is a cost for keeping up with new technology. It seems like, you see most people with their phones, they're able to shoot these amazing videos. So.
It's crazy, actually, the phone technology. We're just kind of experiencing it right now, is like shooting on an iPhone 13 Pro Max, and it's so sad because how much you used to spend. Like I bought my camera kit for like $1,200 or something. It wasn't a great camera, but it was like my first kit. I was so proud of it. And now if I look at like the video we would get compared to like what this phone gets, it's just embarrassing.
No, right.
Yeah. It's crazy. Technology moves so fast like that.
And so going back to Winnipeg, what was kind of, I know you were looking into acting. How long did that process take? Like, was that kind of, you said it was your first love and then moving into behind the camera, but when did that transition really take place for you?
That was probably like almost a decade into being around film that I actually formally started to get jobs like that, because I had put in my time volunteering at like at Shaw cable stations and made a couple TV shows with them there and hosted a couple TV shows for them. So I had those skills. So then I was able to build like, kind of a demo reel of sorts, or like a portfolio. And then that's when I was able to start to engage with like actual film union stuff. And get into that. So it was like a long road of kind of just, I guess I say never went to school, but that was all the school, like making the TV, producing TV, like with our own scripts and stuff, and everything was kind of, and I always viewed it like that as I was doing it. I was kind of cognizant of like, this might be something you want to do, but again, for years I just didn't ask anyone for a job or anything, because I was just so like ashamed of what I might, I was just scared, I guess, really scared to hear no, or like hear you're not good enough.
Sometimes a yes or no is better than a maybe, but so when did that switch click that you knew that you had the confidence to say, I can do this. I don't have a problem asking for work.
You know what? I think it took like a lot of really awesome feedback from my wife as I was going through that transition period. Like her support was really profound. It was awesome. I think that just like, because so much of what I do ends up being visual, I could finally like, you just can see it laid out in front of you, and there's enough of it there finally that you can be like proud of what you did, Yeah. Just takes time.
What about being a young father? Are you setting up pictures for your kids now? Is that does it have to be perfect all the time, or?
My wife takes so many pictures, and she's better at it than me. And then anytime I like try to add my thing in, I'm always like deathly afraid that I'm gonna be wrong, and then she's gonna like dunk on me with her camera knowledge. So I stay out of it. And then also, I mean, she freaking has a photo shoot for this kid twice a year, professionally done. You know, like it's so much money, but they look great. They look great. So yeah.
Would you know, you've made this transition from one to the other, but is acting still in the back burner? Are you thinking about it at all?
It's not anything that I'm like overly. You know what? I really liked theater for doing it. Like that was fun because you're in a group of people, and if you like the people you're with, it's kind of like you're hanging out every day and making a cool thing, and it's not as much pressure, I don't think, as like when you're in film, you got to get your shots right, and there's a lot of money on the line all the time, and it's run and gun, and it's usually bullshit. Like all TV and movies, it's like so hard to make something good. Yeah, it's the truth. Yeah. It's like I used to laugh at all the bad scripts I would see, being like, "This is pathetic." Blah blah. Blah. That's every movie. It's it's telesing impossible to make to make like a good piece of anything cinema wise. Yeah, so I mean, like I guess what I miss about film the most is the money you make per day, and like being on set it's cool, you know. It's just like it's a fun experience. That's all. You got like a big craft services table full of food. You know, it's they make you feel welcome. Most sets, you know, are great at that.
So when like those awards shows, when typically I'm bored and I don't know who they're giving these awards to for all the visual effects. Do you know who these people are? Or have you worked with any of those people that have held a Golden Globe or an Oscar?
I feel like I do, or I have worked with them, although I probably just watch them do tutorials online. Okay. It's like that actually, VFX overall, the community is like very giving with their knowledge because there's no one way to create a visual effect or a cool special effect. So like different people may come up with like different processes. And then like the scientific community almost, they'll take it to the community and be like, I did this to create a laser or something and like share it around. And everyone discusses its merits or like mirrors the technique in their own editing and stuff. So that was one of the things we're coming up. I could learn pretty fast in a lot of different areas because people are just like so giving with it.
No way.
And that's why I to this day have like a great reverence for the internet just based on the fact that it's like this awesome repository of stuff. Like its true purpose is pretty awesome. It's just the social media and TELUS that gets in the way, you know.
So if you let's just hypothetically let's look to the future with your editing. Would you like to get back into movies? Would you like to, and maybe what type of, if you could do anything, what type of movie would you like to film and be like the head guy behind the scenes with every aspect of that film? What would you like to do?
I think that's a good question. Action comedy. I think I would like to do an action comedy.
What would be give me an example of an action comedy.
Well, I mean, I really like, more recently, Peacemaker was a lot of like that crazy properties that somehow just totally smashes. Love that series. I mean, I was always like a big Monty Python and Holy Grail kind of kid. Like that was kind of me when I was young. And then, I don't know, like, RoboCop is a movie I have a lot of.
The first one.
Yeah, definitely. Not the second one where the kid, they lean on that kid so hard. You can't cast a kid for that much movie. And it's the same thing with Anakin Skywalker in Episode 1. It was just too much of this kid. He's got a soft head. He doesn't know how to act, and you got to lean on. But that RoboCop 2 with the kid as a gangster. God. 3. 1 though. It's a masterpiece.
I remember the buzz about that film, and I think I just watched a little documentary about it. How they cut a bunch of the scenes, and then they looked at it, and the editing people wanted to bring it all back, and then the higher ups actually watched the rest and goes, we need all this because it was so essential to that movie. I just remember the buzz and cutting to the commercials and I can see how an action comedy, how that kind of genre, you you don't see many of those movies really anymore.
Not in the same way, because like I don't know. I think the 80s had this special zone it got to live in where they were trying so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't, like now you can just use CG and just make anything, right?
Yeah.
Like it's done.
Yeah.
We're at the end, it'll keep getting better, but we're at the end of what it can do. It can blend reality seamlessly. But back then, not so much.
What, so, like, how would you... There's a lot of movies I see, like, I'm thinking of the new Tom Cruise. He's putting stuff out online all the time with actual stunts and things like that. If you could... Is it a combination of both that you'd like to use, or?
I think like I would love to do some, because one of the things I did coming up was I did train as a fight director with Fight Directors Canada.
Oh, no way!
And I did like some stunts and stunt choreography. I used to be able to do the whole like backflip off a wall thing and all that. Yeah, no, that was along the way. That was a fun little juncture. Like for like 5 years or something, I was like going hardcore, going to courses and stuff. To be like a fight director, and I got nominated for an award here in Edmonton for this adaptation of Beowulf.
Really?
Yeah. But it was in the choreography category.
Okay.
So it was like because I had a whole fight show that we did with Workshop West Theatre. I had like $100,000 budget or something, so I got to like just basically come in from Winnipeg and choreograph all these stunts and shit. Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, it's actually now I'm thankful I got to look back because I totally forgot that entire chapter of my life. It was pretty fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I lost my train of thought there.
Yeah.
You guys are talking about super big too. The fight for.
So.
Well, yeah, no. So that's the thing.
You opened up about a chapter of your life you forgot about, which is hilarious.
I forgot. Yeah.
I forgot that chapter of my life existed. That's mind-bending podcasting right there.
Totally. Oh man, yeah. And I used to be so into it too. Like I knew how to spin a quarterstaff like a ninja. Like I was berserk. Quarterstaffs are cool as shit. Honestly, a quarterstaff is a fun weapon.
So
Shorten its range, Joaquin. You got close and then switch your grip, and you're like way up far. You lay back. Oh yeah.
Well, we all know we can't take Mr. Ash out on a lightsaber duel, I guess. But speaking of lightsabers, new Star Wars Mandalorian kind of. I love this show. Yeah, I think it's great. Some of these new streaming services. Is there way more opportunity now for people to get involved in things like this just because there's so much more content?
Yeah, I think so. And at the same time, I think people within that, like the big production mills for Star Wars, Marvel, stuff like that, are kind of always facing challenges with like unionization and getting a fair shake. Like, it's kind of weird. Film techs overall, like all the behind the camera people, they get worked like dogs. Like even the proper union people in film, it's like just generally unsafe by the end of the week because you've been pulling 14-hour days, and you think you're gonna get a weekend. No, they call Friday FU Friday because you start off on Monday and with your like 4 a.m. call time for tech load-in. So you're at 4 a.m. on Monday, so goodbye to whatever you were doing for the second half of Sunday. You got to get rest because you're about to go through this meat grinder week. And then by the end of Friday, you're not getting up for 4 a.m. because you've been doing 16-hour days, so they can't legally make you work in these intervals, so they have to keep on pushing call time. So then come Friday, your call time's like 2 p.m., which means you're offset 4 a.m., maybe with loadout 6 a.m., and then your weekend begins at 6 a.m. on Saturday. Get to bed early on Sunday, you hump. But that's like the life of a tech, and then VFX is like that too, where you're making Thanos' gauntlet, and they got a room full of chained to your desks, and they're just like, they need it delivered by what the Marvel product forecast, the Kevin Feige roadmap, they need it. You 20-hour days for Thanos' thumb, and so there's more opportunity, but now it's also more open to like globalization, threatening jobs and undercutting people, and who knows what advances in AI are going to mean.
Right.
You know?
Right. I mean, we've all, like, we're in Alberta, obviously, but it seems like there's been quite a lot of films done in Alberta over the past few years, over decades actually, and kind of the hubs, if you are a Canadian, would be to, like you said, geographically speaking, either Vancouver or Toronto. Just because I'm just thinking of one of my favorite shows right now, Last of Us, that was shot majorly in Alberta. Do you think that more opportunity will come to possibly different parts of Canada just because of the different types of landscape and the ability to do different things?
Yeah, I think as long as the provinces are mindful of like the good examples that other provincial economies have set, like Manitoba has created an insane film community for itself.
Oh, no way.
And it just knows what range of like production values it can operate in. It's like $2 million to like $10 million films, like Hallmark Christmas movies.
Right.
They shoot like 80 of them there a year.
Oh, no way.
Oh yeah, it's crazy to watch like casting breakdown after casting breakdown come through in Manitoba, and it's all like Once Upon a Christmas or like The Cookie Disaster or God, are you there, God? It's me, God. Christmas edition. And like, but then Calgary is like the more you got The Revenant, you got like Last of Us, they did Ghostbusters, one of the newer ones.
Yeah.
In southern, Alberta there, like, so then, like, the Calgary range is, like, this big, like, and what Brokeneck Mountain, too, or is that it? Brokeback Mountain, that was there, too. Right,
Legends,
it was, like,
Legends of the Fall?
Yeah, so it's, like, all these, like, $10 million plus movies are out in Calgary and stuff. So, and Fargo came through there as well.
Wow.
Yeah, this TV series.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
TV series.
Yeah. So I think that, those markets exist. And there's also proof to the opposite. Saskatchewan shot, like, basically out of hatred for the NDP. Saskatchewan was on their way. And that government kneeled the film industry down in front of everyone and shot it in the head. Yeah, look up what happened with Saskatchewan and what their disaster. They were building a giant studio space. They were on their way as an art school.
Way.
Yeah. I met like people who were working there for this brief hiccup in time where like there was a bunch of Saskatchewan people who had got trained up in film, got jobs, and then their government, just out of hatred for the previous government, made an example out of film for no reason other than saber rattling. And
If you could go back and make any changes and take a kind of a different path, what would that be?
I think I just would have probably had more confidence in myself overall. Something I still fight against. But yeah, I would have like asked for opportunities more earlier, and probably just gone after stuff. Earlier. I really like where I'm at. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Ryan, for joining me today. We'll see you everybody on episode 3.
Goodbye. I love you.